So while I was on vacation, a group of women known as the Anonymous Janes came forward and they talked about how they had all been abused by one person in the Final Fantasy XIV community who was affiliated with the Moogle Post. And that's a magazine that I was featured in the past. And I listened to their confessions. I was touched by those confessions. And they opened up something in me. They opened up some old wounds in me. And they got me to revisit some memories that I had hoped to never revisit again. But it's important that we do so. I spent the last week working on a podcast in collaboration with the Anonymous Janes. I interviewed them and I created a podcast, which I'm going to be uploading at the same time as this video. You can download it. I will put the download link in the description box to this video. But I wanted to make a separate video that describes my personal experiences with emotional abuse and verbal abuse, and why I feel that it's extremely important that we don't just call it drama and look the other way. And just basically share with you why I'm so personally involved. And I felt a kinship with these women, and I felt so proud of them for doing something that I once thought was impossible once upon a time when I was them, which is escape. Working on this podcast in the last week has been incredibly draining for me emotionally. It's been hard to revisit memories that I never wanted to revisit. And I think that's why last week I kind of cracked, I guess, and I needed to talk to you guys. I couldn't reveal what I was working on, really. But I felt a lot more open, a lot more raw in the last week. And this is partially why it's put some stress on me. It's worth it though, because I think of you guys like my family. I love all of you, and I don't want any of you to get hurt the way that I got hurt. The way that I got not just hurt implies a one-time thing. The way that I was damaged by verbal and emotional abuse that was ongoing for years. The way that the Janes were damaged. I don't want that to happen to any of you, and I don't want any of you to feel afraid to speak out if it happens. It's okay. I don't know where to start, but I was in this verbally and emotionally abusive relationship for 6 years. Everything in the beginning started out really, really good, like perfect, magical, amazing. And I've learned by talking to the Janes that's common in these types of controlling relationships. The beginning is a lure. It's meant to lure you into the trap. Slowly, over time, I didn't even realize it, but I had started to lose my identity, and I had started to change, and I started to become different, and to start to believe that I was actually the scum of the earth. I started to believe that I deserved to be treated badly because I'm just terrible. I'm like human garbage. That's what he would tell me. And I believed him. A lot of people, they'll hear about something like that and they think, why would you believe that? It's not like one day he's nice and the next day he tells you you're a piece of shit. It doesn't work like that. It's slow. It's so slow. It's so sinister. It's a process that happens over time without you knowing. And until one day you just believe things that aren't true. I think of it this way. The abuser will construct, it's like an illusion spell that he casts. And in my case, it was like through his words, and actions. He was constantly keeping this spell up, like a wall over me, obstructing my view of the world. And when he could no longer keep it up all the time, I started to see, hey, you know, I can kind of see there's something on the other side. Like there's a reality that's not this one. To help you understand my frame of mind at the time, I wanted to go through some of my text messages, conversations that I had with a close friend of mine, an internet friend of mine. At the time, he dug these up for me last week so I could share them with you, because I think it's helpful to hear it, you know, from me. I say me in quotes because that wasn't me. It was a version of me that he had manufactured. But I think it might be helpful to some of you who are going through the same thing. If you hear it and you hear, that's how I think, that's how I talk, like it's a wake-up call. I'm trying to wake up some of you. Before I get into the text, I want to give you a little background on this person. He was deeply religious in a way that I would say is not representative of Christians or like good Christians. For him, religion was just another way to control me and control people, be manipulative. It made him feel like he had the high ground all the time, but it was just an excuse to be controlling. It contributed to the gaslighting too, because everybody around him and his family, they all just said, oh, well, he's just very religious. He's very righteous, you know. It couldn't have been farther from the truth. And when everyone around you believes that you're the crazy one, you start to doubt your own reality, your own thoughts, your own feelings. That's part of emotional abuse. That's what's so sinister about it. That's why not talking about it is the worst thing that you can do. Telling someone that's going through this that they're crazy, you are part of the problem. And so maybe you should know that, I mean, 5 out of the 6 years that I was in this relationship, there was no physical component whatsoever. Nothing. In retrospect, I'm grateful for that. He would forbid me from doing a lot of things, like playing games I liked, like playing video games. He would try to isolate me from the things that I loved, especially things that would put me in contact with people that cared about me and thought that I wasn't a piece of shit. People that could help dispel the illusion. And so I told him that I wasn't playing World of Warcraft anymore, but it was a lie, of course. I was playing it, and it put me in touch with some people with a friend of mine who did help me see through some of the stuff. One day Skyrim came out, and I was really excited to play it, and I remember getting the disc for it, and I remember he got so mad when he found out that I might play Skyrim, because he said it's just like World of Warcraft. It's just as demonic. And so he broke it. He broke the disc. And I remember I was really scared. It's the same feeling that, I don't know if you've ever had someone hit you, but the feeling I get before you know someone's about to hit you, but all the time. For me, Skyrim kind of became this secret, this beautiful secret that was maybe a little piece of me in the dark. And it's still why Elder Scrolls is so special to me. It gave my soul a little place to shine. Memories have been flooding back to me that I didn't want to ever remember. But yesterday I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a cute picture of some kittens in a bucket. It's just a cute Facebook standard picture, and I had this memory of the time that we were at a party and the person throwing the party had some small kittens around, very small. And he got all the kittens and put them in a box, like one of those refrigerated boxes with the lid that seals shut. And he put them all in there and he shut the lid and he sealed it. And he walked away and no one saw him do it. There was nothing in that box before, so nobody had any reason to go look in it. But by chance, by some miracle, somebody happened to open the box for no reason. And they found the kittens were still alive. And they saved the kittens. And I remember he said he did it, and people were like, "Why would you do that?" And he just shrugged his shoulders like, he just wanted to see what would happen, I guess. He was a sociopath. I see that now so clearly, but at the time I was just so afraid of him. I was living in fear all the time, and he had so many friends, and they all told me that, yeah, he's fine. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. Everybody told me that. And they told me that I'm the one that was crazy, that I'm the bitch. And I believed it. Because he would tell me that too. He was the religious one, the moral one. He wasn't mean to all animals. He had a dog. He had his own dog that, I guess he was just mean to other people's animals. He had a dog that I remember being jealous of his dog because he was so kind to that dog. And it was so different from the way that he treated me. If I was there at his apartment late and maybe I didn't want to drive home, he would make me sleep on the floor. But the dog could sleep in the bed. So I'm going to read some texts from this era. From the time, this is the era, this is close to when I was finally able to leave. I was just beginning to see through the illusion and beginning to see that this reality he constructed possibly could not be real, the real reality. I think by hearing my own words from this time, it will help you kind of understand or maybe recognize these thought patterns in your life if you're a victim. So these are conversations that I had with an internet friend of mine, a friend that I made through World of Warcraft. One of the only places, where his friends weren't. So this was a way for me to talk. This is one of the reasons he didn't want me playing World of Warcraft, because it did put me in touch with people that were supportive to me. That's something that an abuser and a controlling person will do to you. They will try to isolate you from people who try to uplift you and let you know that they're full of shit, which is something that Jane's told me also happened with them. I said, and this is the conversation, he's not okay with World of Warcraft. That's a bomb waiting to be dropped. My friend said, "What's up with that anyway?" I said, if he finds out I still play, he thinks I quit a year ago. Shit would hit the fan. I don't know. All of it is getting on my nerves. He makes me go to mass every Sunday, or he lectures me. So he would force me to go to mass every weekend, and I'm not into that. It's fine for some people, but it's not for me. And I was so brainwashed, and I actually went through the process to become Catholic. I converted. I finished the conversion process when I was in that relationship. And this ended up being a thing that would help save my life because though I don't consider myself Catholic today, I met a priest there who was very chill and very practical guy who's I still consider a friend, and he reached out to me, and he talked to me, and we'll get to that in later, but he helped me a lot. So that backfired, I guess. It sucks. If he was then in the beginning like he is now, I would not have started dating him, but I feel attachment and fear. I lay up at night in my bed practicing breakup speeches. I know it won't work long term. This is like near the end. So like at this point, I'm like knowing, okay, I gotta get up, but I'm still fucking terrified of this person. He talks down to me. He thinks all my ideas are dumb. He doesn't care about the music I like or about Coast to Coast. It's a radio show I liked. I try to tell him about my dreams, my thoughts and stuff, and he just thinks I'm off in space. And here you'll hear me like believing his lies still, which may be true, but still, I'm tired of being afraid to do things because I know he's going to be on my ass about it. For my job, I have to take a 3-month hiatus between contracts, and I'm on it right now, so I can go back after I graduate. He laid into me about how I'm lazy for not having a job in the meantime, and I'm selfish for putting the burden on my parents to help me have food money. By the way, my parents did volunteer to help me pay for food whenever I was on the hiatus between my contracts and I was in school. That's none of his business. That's not the point. The point is, this is how he would talk to me. This is how an abuser talks to you. I'd be like, hey, I'm stressed and worried about school. And he would always say that, he got pissed and lectured me about how stupid I am for not doing enough, how he can't trust me, and it's my irresponsibility that proves I'm not responsible in general. Anything that you say can be used to just put you down and tell you that you're shit. Anything, everything, anything and everything. I said, am I crazy? I mean, clearly I am crazy, which is true, but you know what I mean? So this is me starting to understand, like, I didn't know the word gaslighting yet, but part of me was starting to get, okay, maybe I'm not crazy. This is a self-destructive kind of crazy. And every time I think about it, I just get really stressed out and upset. I feel like I'm in too deep. I talked about how I went to a wedding and the girl was very happy and the guy was so great for her and they're just so excited. And I realized that wasn't me at all and would never be. And I said to my friend, I don't feel like with him I could have that, at least not now, not with this version of him. And that's something that victims will say that are in these relationships. They think, I can fix him. Things will get better. It's not always going to be like this. He just needs, X, Y, Z. But it won't get better. It never gets better. It will only get worse and worse and worse. His personality has gotten so wacko. I think he loves me in the only way he knows how. Holy shit, what? He changes all the time. My roommate said he's a chameleon. He changes to be like who he is around. I think he has an infinite number of personalities depending on who he's with. It kind of unsettles me. It's true. He is just like a sociopath. He started to go away on the weekends, and you'll hear me say this in the podcast. And I started to realize that when he was away, I started to feel different. I started to feel like myself again. I started to feel alive and free, like I could do what I wanted and not be scared. For the first time, I wasn't afraid. First time in a long time. I wasn't afraid anymore. I remember being so confused, like, why do I feel so good now? And maybe something isn't right. Maybe this isn't reality. Maybe reality doesn't have to be filled with fear. That might sound stupid to someone who's in their right mind, but you have to understand that somebody's that's been undergoing this kind of constant abuse, constant emotional abuse, that's what it does. It makes you question your whole perception of reality. One day, my internet friend told me, my World of Warcraft friend told me, don't take this bullying anymore. You don't have to be bullied anymore. And I thought, maybe I'll do an experiment. Just once. Just once I'll find out if I can say no to this person. Because one thing that he would do is he would constantly force me to go to family events. Because that's where he needed me. He needed me to be there to show his family that he's not a sociopath. And he never asked me if I wanted to go or if I had class the next day or whatever. It didn't matter. One day I decided I would tell him no as an experiment, just to see what would happen. It was for something that I would have normally wanted to go to. Was, I think, his grandma's birthday party. I needed to say no. I said, no, I can't. I have other plans. And I remember it was like a nuclear bomb had dropped. He was absolutely livid. He couldn't believe that I had the audacity, me, like this worm, had the audacity to say no to what he wanted. I remember thinking, well, it's too late now. I felt like an animal trapped in a corner, and I was like, it's too late now. I have to commit fully to saying no. And I remember leaving. I got in the car and I physically left. It had proved to me, yeah, okay, maybe this is abuse. Maybe I am going through abuse. Question mark. Never having heard of emotional abuse before. I'll share with you the text that he sent me after I told him no that time. I still have it. My internet friend sent it to me the other day so I could share it with you now. I owe this completely random outburst of crazy by you this weekend to the following factors. Your mother, who he hated. He constantly said terrible things about her, and I told him to please stop that. She's my mom. I love her. Can you please stop talking about her like that? And he just ignored me. And so your mother, your cycle, Marilyn Manson, and other ungodly influences you've surrounded yourself with in your boring life. Other guys, possibly at work. My strong will to have you with me on the weekends, especially during family events. Your childish need to act rebelliously for rebellion's sake. A confused and ignorant trait of the devil. I hope you went to confession, because I know you missed Mass this weekend, something else I think you only pretend to care about. Despite your overall lazy attitude towards life, something I hold little respect for. Trust is something lacking between us, from me to you, and I fear I'll be eternally... Oh, here, actually, this is something I didn't notice before. Trust is something lacking between us, from me to you. Okay? So it doesn't matter if I feel like I can trust the person. You see what I mean? It's a put down. It's not, let's trust each other. It's, you're untrustworthy. You are a piece of shit. I fear I'll be eternally hesitant to put my heart in your childish hands with your childish, uncontrollable whims. What do you have to say for yourself? With like lots of question marks and stuff. I didn't respond to that. I remember, I don't consider myself Catholic. I went and spoke to my friend who is a priest, and he told me, he was the first person to tell me, hey, you're being abused. You are in an abusive relationship. He said, you are talking to me the same way that women who are physically abused talk to me about their relationships. And I remember that was a shock. I was like, he's not hitting me, but it's abuse? And he said, yeah, it's not, it's damaging. He actually used the words, "You're being mind fucked." He told me to send a text message that I'm done, and then to cut off all contact, which is exactly what I did. That's the only way to get out. As Jane once said to me in my interview with her, you have to cut off all the contact. You can't talk to them again. And that's what I did. And I was able to get out. And another thing that helped me was a book. I ordered this book from Amazon like the next day, actually. It's called The Verbally Abusive Relationship, How to Recognize It and How to Respond by Patricia Evans. And this book helped save my life as well. This is a really good book for it has a lot of like checklists in it where you can go down the list and ask yourself, is this happening? Is this happening? In my case, I was like, check. Yeah. And it will help you. I think sometimes it just helps to have like maybe an official source let you know you're not crazy. That in the book, she refers to it as crazy making, which is really like gaslighting. So I would recommend that. I'll put a link to that in the description box. Because of the sinister nature of emotional abuse, because emotional abuse is so quiet. It's just the lies that you're told, the way that your identity shifts. Because of that, you need to talk about it. It's really, 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 really important to talk about it and to take people seriously when they talk about it, because so often these people are being gaslighted and they're surrounded by people that say that they're the crazy one. And now that you've heard all of that, you know, I didn't go super in depth into my traumatic memories and experiences with this person because I don't want to. I really don't. I do not want to think about it anymore. I want to move on and get back to my happy current life where I'm very fulfilled and not at all anything like I was then. You know, I wish that I had gotten therapy right away, right after getting out. I wish I had gone straight into therapy, but I had no idea how damaging this is. And I think most people don't. And I think that's why the Janes have not gotten the attention and respect that they deserve. That's why I'm doing this. I don't want this to happen to any of you. I don't want any of you to suffer like this in silence. I want you to feel like you can talk about it. You can get support. I can't not be involved. I can't not after what I've been through. I opened up these old wounds, and I'm telling you this because I want to show you how sinister emotional and verbal abuse is, how it can change you as a person, how it can shift your understanding of reality. And that's why it's so important to talk about it and to take people seriously when they do talk about it. So my podcast with the Janes, I'm going to provide a link to that in the description box below. And I'm also going to be uploading it as its own separate video. So thank you for listening and sticking it out this far through the video. I really appreciate it. And I don't want any of you to get hurt. Please seek help. Please get help if this is happening to you or someone you love. And let me know what you think about the podcast. If you enjoyed it, I might make other podcasts in the future about gaming related topics. I kind of have a plan for that already. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just let me know what you think about the podcast and stuff. And I'll see you next time, hopefully with something more fun. Bye-bye, guys.